All right, hey everyone, Paul C. Torina here, nutritional therapist, Atavist life coach out of Vegas. And just here to talk about some talking points, some things that I've thought about that happened over the past week. And like I have all these amazing things happen, and I think to myself, in the moment, I want to capture this. I want to put it out there, and I make a note, and I don't. So I'm trying to make a point to communicate some of these amazing things that go on, because I just feel a tremendous responsibility to people. Like we definitely want to empower new people and bring them into this powerful information. But we're also always thinking about the people that are already connected to us. And I just pray that the information that I put out, it is from the heart, that it comes across that way and it has some kind of benefit and it resonates with people in some way. I mean, that's just really what I want for people. So I have an amazing life, like I really do. I have such an amazing life because in its simplicity, when you really think about what it is, I go to bed and get up every day to try to feel as amazing as I possibly can. I'm optimizing my health all day, every day. And because of that, I feel great and I keep feeling better and better and better. And everything about me gets better. And then I just share that with other people. I mean, how much more amazing can that be, But my life wasn't always like that. My life was pretty darn miserable for most of my, adult years, And it wasn't until I cleaned up my health that I started to change things, So I think some people would always say to me, if I go on this little rant about how amazing my life is, some people would say, well, of course it is, because look at what you do. Well, the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing now is because I figured out my health. And then that opened up doorways to all kinds of different opportunities. And that's what we see happen with people. People come to us and they want body composition changes. They want to look good in a bikini, and that's great. I mean, that's part of an indicator for health, I think, to a degree, aesthetics. But, once you start to feel good, like everything is possible. Everything really is possible. Once you start to feel good, you start to dream again. You start to think about things in a different way. And in that dreaming and thinking about things, you activate possibilities that weren't there before. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to move and shift and change, So that's what happened with me. I cleaned my health up, and now I'm on this completely new life trajectory, and I could not be more happy. I mean, it's just the most amazing life in the world. So, but my point with that is I created this life. Like, it didn't just fall in my lap. And it's hard. It's hard building a business, But I wouldn't have it any other way. But the way that I got to doing something that I really enjoy is I got my health figured out first. So if you don't have your health figured out, you got to get there. You got to feel good. You got to be a vibrant vessel, receptive, to all the great things that are out there just waiting for you, because they really are. So had an amazing week. All my private clients just blew my mind, which they always do. I love my private client meetings. Like, they're so great. They're so personal. I always wish I could have a camera on us, but I'm sure if I did, they wouldn't be the same because I'd be nervous. But like, they're so connected, And a lot of times I like to say that, it's not necessarily anything special about me. Maybe I do have some cumulative wisdom over time that I'm sharing with people, but it's really that I'm nudging people and pushing them in this right direction that they know they want to and need to go. They just need someone to kind of clear that path for them. And my private clients are just so amazing. They're so great. We get to talk about all the different foundational concepts, and then a lot of times we get to spend time practicing our priming and practice, which is basically gratitude, meditation, and envisioning, and being able to sit with someone and like meditate and then talk about it and meditate and talk about it and go back and forth and just have this little dialogue and these insights. Like, I just love it. I absolutely love it. I love all my private clients. They're so great. Now, there's this one guy in particular. Oh, and I got to give some credit before I forget about it. I've got another reason my life is so amazing is I have amazing people that support me. So Nicole McIntosh, I can't say enough great things about you. She's my coach, my only coach. She's one of the greatest friends I have, and I don't know she's my rock. She's great. She's so awesome. And then I got people like Joe and Marnie and Mark, putting this business thing together, and we're expanding things, and I just have never been more excited. Like, I knew the possibilities, but now they look even more possible. You guys are so great. The more I get to interact with you, the more great you are. And then Sonia Spears, thank you so much for bringing all these people to us and opening, this new possibility for a greater life to all these different people. It's so amazing what you do with the Combine and with us. And then, of course, Colby and Yessie and like all the coaches up here, this community we have, the Combine, our SHT and private client community, like, it's just the most synergistic, greatest thing in the world. Like, it really is. It's like we're building a new planet here or something. So and the reason I thought about this, because I'm about to go into this talk about Hal, and me and Colby were just talking about it, and I wanted to give a little bit of credit to him there. So, so one of my private clients, Hal, this week, and Hal Salazar, he is a performer, he's a musician, he's amazing. We met him at Fogo de Chao, and he was doing a little live thing out in the patio, and we all just were enamored by him, and he's great. He played any song that we gave him. I mean, we were giving him, he has a guitar and a mic and an amp, and we gave him Dr. Dre, Forgot About Dre, and some songs like that, and he played it, and it was great. So, but I reached out to him afterwards because I really felt like, this guy is so talented, and he's overweight, and you can tell he's tired, and he's got issues going on. I can just see it in people's faces sometimes, and this is out of nothing but compassion here. So I reached out to him, and I just said, hey man, I'd love to help you. I think that if you could figure this stuff out, it would take everything about your life, including your business, to another level, and I'd love to help you. And as a great synchronicity, of course, he replies back and said, you know what, I just made this decision myself that I have to figure this stuff out. And so he came in, and we had a great conversation, and things started from there, And he's even said, some of the people that want to do deals with them, the people that would market him and stuff, say, you'd do a lot better if you lost some weight and some things like that. Breaks my heart to hear that, but sometimes we need some kind of something to nudge us in this direction of trying to figure out what the truth is about all this stuff. And that was his nudge. That's what brought him to us, and now his life is going to be completely different for the rest of his life. So anyway, we had a great meeting. We've had several meetings. In this past meeting, he comes in, and to me, he just looks great, and I can tell his body composition is shifting. And what just makes me so happy is when he comes in, that's not his focus. He came in and he was rattling off I said, well, tell me some good things that are shipping for you. What's going on? Update me. And of course he goes, well, I'm full faster. I'm not as hungry as I used to be. And even when I'm eating, where I used to just eat and eat and eat and eat, I'll eat and I'll stop. And, my body is changing. I can feel it, but it's not because I'm weighing myself, but people are telling me. And otherwise I might not even notice it. People are coming up and giving me compliments and stuff. And I think that's so beautiful, And he's sleeping better, which is a great indicator. And he doesn't eat out of boredom anymore. He doesn't snack out of boredom. He's having natural space in between meals. He's having about 2 meals a day on most days. Maybe he'll have a snack in between. And that's happening naturally for him. And he's just blown away at the fact that he's not obsessing over food as he used to, and eating all the time and snacking all the time. And after meals feeling so full he had to take a nap. And then what I really loved is he has this conscious awareness of food now. Before he even eats, he thinks about what he's putting in his body. He has this conscious awareness, and it's he has this deliberate intention to make sure that this food goes to the purposes that it needs to inside his body. And I think that's just so beautiful. Connecting with your food like that, even if you don't prep it, having a little grace. I love gratitude before meals because that's kind of what that does. It sets a tone for the food you're about to eat and how you assimilate it. So I just thought that was so beautiful. And the thing that stood out the most with me with him was, he was just I don't know how to say it. I was try to say it. What is it? He's I don't know how to say it. I was what? Tell me. And he was I just feel good. I was brother, that's what this is all about. That's what this is about. And I'm going to start crying saying that right now. It's about feeling good. It's about feeling good. That's what this is all about. And all the rest of it comes too. The body composition changes and all that stuff. So I'm really happy for him, and I'm really happy for all our clients and the people that we work with that have a chance to move in that direction. And we had an amazing talk, a real food basics talk with a group of people that Sonia brought to us, and it's so great to watch people's minds getting blown. They can't believe that it's okay to eat meat and fat. Everybody agrees on fruits and vegetables for some reason, but most people can't believe it's okay to eat meat and fat. But going through that whole process with them, and just knowing that some of these people, if they take that information to heart and they go out and they implement it, things are going to completely change for them for the rest of their life. It's such an exciting thing. So, and I love to see experiences like that with Hal. I remember our first meeting, he was I can't believe that this is what I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to do it. And now he's feeling it and he's getting it, And, if you need further reading and things like that, I pointed him some good books to get. He's read the first 63 pages of Nourishing Traditions, every blog post I've sent him, every documentary. So, he's internalizing a lot of information beyond this crazy bald guy sitting here telling him what to do. So I want to talk about a few food points that have come up over the past week. And this is a really good summary of some things. I don't know if you've heard of the new book by Rob Wolf, Wired to Eat. This is maybe playing a little bit on that, but it's something that we've all known and understood, but just haven't verbalized it this way just yet. I truly believe at this point that most people just eat too much in general. You know, I do so much experimentation with fasting and what we call strategic fasting and space in between meals that I just think that people overeat, including myself. You know. The evolutionary template is feast and famine, and for the most part being more on the side of being empty than full, you know? And I think that's what we need to mimic, because when you really think about it, we are wired to eat in every way possible, okay? When we see food, we are primarily wired to go for as much of that food as we can with as little effort as possible. You know, that's the evolutionary template. And the tragedy is that here in this modern society, we have access to food 24/7, 365 days a year. I can order and have stuff delivered to my house. If I'm out of food, I just get in the car and drive down to a grocery store, which are open 24/7. You know, like, we have access to stuff all the time. And when we eat, we probably eat too much. I mean, that's the deal. You know, I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life. And I've been through, you know, like all these hot topics nowadays, low carb and keto. We've been doing keto since 2014. And I think a lot of that stuff is misguided. What I think people are going to feel the best on, if they can get their minds wrapped around this and they can experiment with it, is you got to have balance, right? It's not about any one methodology. It's not about being a meat eater. It's not about being vegan, and it's not about being freaking low carb or ketogenic or anything else. It's about having balance and trying to mimic this evolutionary template while combining it with modern conveniences and understanding I don't do good on just meat. I do good on meat with fat, with plant matter, a broad spectrum of plant matter, broad spectrum of meats, which includes organ meats and shellfish, and trying to rotate through those different things. A broad spectrum of healthy fats, which includes animal fats and plant-based fats and traditional fats. And then, you know, plant matter, like a broad spectrum of plant matter, which includes leafy greens and sulfur-rich produce and bioflavonoids and color and all this other stuff. And then carbohydrates, you know, like starchy things like potatoes and sweet potatoes and yams, and we would consider white rice one of our safe starches. You know, we follow the Paul Jaminet Perfect Health Diet template as far as that goes. But I think most people are going to feel way better having that balance of nutrients and that broad spectrum of foods, and understanding that that's what's going to contribute more to satiety and auto regulation of appetite than anything else, than trying to be some kind of strict, you know, meat, vegan, low carb, ketogenic kind of person. But then also understanding when I get those balance of foods, I need to have those balance of foods in punctuated sessions, right? So I don't want to be grazing all the time. Space is the final frontier in every possible way. I'm telling you, we all need so much space, it's not even funny, right? Space in thought. How do we cultivate that? Through meditation and mindfulness practices. That you cultivate, you nurture natural space and thought when you meditate. And if you don't understand how to do it, ask me, because I love it. With food, you know, we want to cultivate natural space in between meals, and we want to experiment with pushing the boundary of that space. This week, me and our Purist Fat Loss people are going to do a 3-day fast, maybe a little bit longer than that. You know, you want to nurture space where you can, because that's mimicking that evolutionary template, and heaven forbid you're overeating at your main meals. If you start to reduce those main meals, for some people that works out a little bit better in their favor and they start to eat a little bit less. But anyway, my point with that was, I got sidetracked there. We're wired to eat. You have to set yourself up for success. You can't have stuff laying around all the time. You can't be grazing all the time. You can't have stuff out, because if it's out and you look at it, you're going to start to salivate and you're going to start to want it. So you need to set yourself up for success. At your main meals, you need to make sure that you have a balance of nutrients, but then also you want to err on the side of not stuffing yourself. You want to err on the side of not being full. And then you want to give yourself space. You want to give yourself space in between meals. And then you want to give yourself space, like ridiculous space here and there. Go for 1 meal a day, or 1 meal every 2 days, or 1 meal every 3 days kind of thing, or something like that. Experiment with that stuff. I would say that stuff probably makes a lot more sense when you have your foundations dialed in and you work with us and you have real food figured out and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, those are some big points that came up over the past week. Was you know, we're wired to eat. You got to set yourself up for success. I think all of us overeat all the time, and we need to err on the side of eating a little bit less food in general, but just making sure that when we do eat, it's balanced, so that we are having this broad spectrum of nutrients and we're not lacking anything, so we're not going to be starving in any kind of nutritional way. And then just nurturing space everywhere you can. Nurturing space in your thoughts. Nurturing space after workouts. Nurturing space in between your meals. You know, oh, this came up too, you know, like sometimes in the evenings, what were we talking about? I had this really good conversation with several people. We were talking about, you know, when you come home early and you're not doing like the whole TV stuff, and you're not going back to your habitual comfort things, which may be drinking or smoking pot or, zoning out on the television or something like that. Like, what do you do with that space? I think most of us are really uncomfortable in space. So I think it's really good to get uncomfortable, to get into space. Spend some time just sitting, not even like formally meditating, just sitting in silence. I have a lot of evenings where I go home and I've got some free time and I'm there and I'm just looking around, I'm just paying attention. I'll go to the park, and throw the Frisbee with Conan and just like watch people and look at people and try to see myself in others and just some beautiful stuff like that. So space is where it's at. And then you also need to learn how to get comfortable being in space, meaning you don't always have to be doing something. You don't always have to be going. You don't always have to be working and on your computer and on your phone and watching TV. And if you don't have something planned, that's perfectly fine. Just sit, just be. And even better, just sit and be with somebody else, Okay, last thing I want to talk about is goal setting. So, man, I know this is probably going on too long, so you have to break it up and watch it at your convenience. So I want to leave you with this for the weekend. So we need to spend some time thinking about what we want. And did you know that most people out there do not think about what they want? Most people out there are reactionary. Most people out there are thinking about what's wrong in their life and what they don't want. And it's not their fault. It's unconscious, but they're focused on the wrong things, because guess what? The more that I think about the things that are wrong in my life, the more that I bring that stuff in. And that's the absolute truth. Most people don't spend time thinking about what they want every day. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what my life would be like if I wasn't thinking about what I wanted every morning. I'm like a little kid because I daydream every morning about what I want in my life. And then guess what? The things that I ask for come. And they come faster and faster and faster the more vibrant and the more healthy I am with things. So you got to think about what you want. If you don't think about what you want, how are you going to get what you want? You got to think about what you want. You got to sit and think about what you want, no matter how crazy it may seem or how ridiculous. You got to put time and effort into thinking about what you want, because when you think about what you want, you activate the possibility for that to come into your life. All right? And then the how starts to work itself out. So when thinking about what you want and setting goals, it's good to understand how the unconscious mind works, and just a few points on this. All right? Number one, the unconscious mind works on the principle of least effort. Okay? So I don't have to know how to get there. I just have to know what I want. And if I can get clear on what I want, the how works itself out over time. There's no way that I could ever figure out how I'm going to get to where I want to get with this whole Empower the Planet and my business thing, right? But it doesn't matter, because it's happening anyway. Like, the path is unfolding before me because I'm clear on what it is that I want as an end result. And you can take that to any level. You can take that to your relationship and career, finances, any area of your life. Think about what it is that you want, get clear on that thing that you want, and the how starts to present itself over time, as long as you're committed to moving in that direction. Now, another principle of the unconscious mind is that it is always designed to seek more and expand. All right. So one of the things that I think sets us apart, as far as we know, from other animals, is that we have this ability to think about what we want and move in that direction. It's not completely primal, right? I can create completely new things in my mind, and then I can manifest those things. Right? So 100 years ago, I'm sure no one could have even imagined where we'd be with technology these days. But it's here because someone was thinking about stuff and imagining and dreaming and making that stuff happen, So, and then I think another really important, there's a million things we could talk about with the unconscious mind. Another thing, especially when goal setting with the unconscious mind, is to understand that the unconscious mind doesn't process negatives. So you always want to focus on the things that you want versus moving away from the things that you don't want. So when I said that most people think about what's wrong in their life, they don't realize it, but they're bringing more of what's wrong into their life. All right. So what we want to do is flip that around and think about, what is it that I really want? I don't even have to have an answer for it, because that will ask my unconscious mind to search for the answer. What is it that I really want? And then move in that direction. Okay. So this is now, what I would say is that it's beneficial. It doesn't, you can call this whatever you want. You can call it affirmations, I am statements, goal setting. You can go to a sales training, weekend seminar series or something like that and learn how to set goals. I don't think it's as important about the how as long as you do it, because most people don't think about what they want. So the first priority is just making a commitment to, on a daily basis, think about what you want in your life and what you want for your day. And then we've gone through all kinds of different processes with our clients and challengees about how to do this formally. Understanding how the unconscious mind works is really beneficial, but then I would also, right now we're experimenting with breaking it up into these three phases, right? So the first one is you want to think big picture. What do I want long term outside of my current life situation. Break out a blank sheet of paper and just sit there and think about, what is it that I really want with my life in general? What do I want with my life? Where do I want to be in life? Like big picture, beyond where you currently are right now. Write down some descriptions, some adjectives, some phrases. Try to get clear on that. When you start to journal with those kinds of things, all of a sudden ideas start to flow, and it's great. It's beautiful. All right. Then you want to think about like your current situation, your current life situation, your current career. Like, what is it that I want in the near term, in the near future? What's pushing me and driving me on a daily basis to get better, right? So, and then the third thing you want to do is acknowledge your triggers. Acknowledge the things that are causing you stress and difficulty and keeping you from moving forward on a daily basis. Now, this is one of the few times that we would say acknowledge those things that are not good, because what we want to do with those things is then flip them around and figure out what the positive aspect of that is, so that I can program myself to deal with those things when they come up. And I did a little journaling session this morning, and I wish I would have had those things right here in front of me, because I was trying to think about what my big triggers were, and I can't think of them right now. Well, of course, in the evenings I like to numb out. I like everybody else. I get done with my day 4:30, 5:30. I like to have a gluten-free beer or a glass of wine, or indulge in something like that, and kind of zone out and veg out or something like that. And I listened to this book recently by Charlotte Jogobeck, who talked about she's a Zen master, Buddhist teacher, and she said something about this little story about someone that wanted to climb Everest but wanted to do it without oxygen, because this guy wanted to experience the mountain as it was. And the translation for that was experiencing life as it is, like fully connected, without being buzzed or inebriated or something. And that's not to say there's not a time and place for all that stuff. Like, I'm all about all these experiences, experiencing life to the fullest, and having a drink here and there, and doing, whatever kind of extracurricular activities you like to do. But I'm just saying, in general, having this mindset of, I want to fully experience life as it is, with no help. I don't want things clouded. I want to go home sometimes and I just want to sit and be. And if it's uncomfortable, I want to be with that uncomfortableness. And I don't know. I guess that's a kind of good way to. I was talking about my triggers, and so one of my triggers is, I have this little, about 4:30, 4:45 in the afternoon, this little sensation, this image that pops up, and I want to have a drink, or I want to do something to numb out, and I'm noticing that, and I'm catching that, and I'm rewording that, rewiring that by having an affirmation or a positive statement in the morning, that when I notice that, that is my mindfulness bell to come back to be present and to breathe and to feel and to listen. And that's one of the ways that I work with my triggers, so that's my point. That's bringing it back. The three ways that you can set some time aside today to work on your goals is to think big picture, what do I want? Get some ideas down on paper. And then think short term, what do I want? Get some ideas down on paper. And then think, what are my big triggers? What's keeping me from moving forward? And then write down the opposite of what those triggers are, so that you program yourself for an amazing day every day. And when those things pop up, you have some kind of way to reverse them or something like that. So take that information, take some time today, sit down and think about what you want, put it down on paper. Take that information every morning and have a little ritualistic session where you sit down, and I would recommend going through gratitude and meditating, and then reading through that stuff. And I'm telling you, the things you ask for are going to come, and they're going to come fast, especially if you got your health figured out. All right? I hope that's useful, beneficial. It's from the heart. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.